Comicsgate started because Marvel Comics opened the door to left-wing activists. They say, nice hobby that you have. It's a little bit sexist, don't you think? Maybe you better let us in to fix it. Bitch, it wasn't made for you. You had no business coming in here and ruining it. You killed the comic book industry, and you weak-ass fat-beard cucks who let these bitches come in here and make it unhospitable. Tell the fans that they're Nazis if they don't like their characters being destroyed. And nobody wants to speak out. Going to be like, oh my goodness. Even though he is 100% absolutely right about this problem, I do not want to be attacked by cat ladies on Twitter. I'm afraid of that blue-haired land whale. I'm fucking Ahab. I'm Captain Ahab of the blue-haired land whale. Fuck them. This hobby means something to so many people. You be Captain Ahab too. Tell the truth. Talk about what's gone wrong. Because if you don't talk about it, and if you're afraid, then this hobby over the years will be gone for good. Now, I'm afraid the comics as we have understood them are dead. The comic book industry as we have known it is dead. But comic books are you. The comic book industry is you. If we're not going to fix this, nobody is. They're going to sit there and go, it was because of COVID. We don't know what happened. It's just suddenly comic. No. Left-wing activists came in and decided to take over this industry, spit in your faces, and destroy what you loved. Wake up. That is what happened to the hobby that you cherished. What classic stories are coming out of the social justice warrior generation of comics? Nothing. We're not worried about secret identities anymore. We're worried about identity politics. Oh, we got to represent more people. Why don't you entertain people? Why don't you stop applauding yourself? 2017 Marvel Retailer Conference, some brave retailers stood up and said, I can't sell this shit. You're changing Thor into a woman. I can't sell it. Where is Bruce Banner? Who is this little Asian kid who enjoys being the Hulk? Fuck this. I can't sell it. You're killing my store. I can't sell these comics. And you know what Marvel did? Marvel made fun of them. Called them bigots. Said, we hear you. You're saying you don't like women. And it was over. It was over at that point. It was just over. The comic book industry was dead.
All right. That's it. Lord Crusader, one of Ethan's best commentaries. I agree. We had some good stuff today too. Hey, Blue, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here if you can hear me.
I can. There's a bit of noise in the background though. I don't know what that is.
That's the train kit. Anyway, how you been?
Okay. I'm fine. Mo Big says, early bird Bancroft strikes again. What's the rush? Well, you're the rush, Mo. I'm trying to prove you wrong. One show at a time. Somber start. Yeah, a little bit. Let's go back and say hello to everyone in the chat before we get kicking. I invited Vinny Art on, Vinny Tardamella. Hopefully he'll come in and say hello. Artie Bear, I said he's probably already sick of talking about this, but I saw he was around, so I thought maybe he'd be good to keep talking about it as well. But before we get to all that, let's say hello to these amazing people in the chat here. Chris.
Hello.
Hassian. Too much mansplaining confirmed. Yes, perhaps. This is Vanessa's in the stream earlier with EVS and said he was in who was particularly taken away by in the moment, said, oh, you should do a rant on this. You should do an animation on this rant in the chat. And I said, yeah, it actually could be good, but we'll see. I have to go back and listen to it. You know what happens on these streams? I didn't get to listen to the whole thing, but it seems to be YouTube will put up just a little bit of it. So you have to keep checking back to see when the whole thing comes up. Yeah, Mo, you can start calling me Ellie Bird Bancroft. I can have that. Better than Baby Killer Bancroft.
Do you ever start to get the feeling that like YouTube isn't our friend?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day. The chat is our friend, but YouTube not so much.
Right.
GM, no, there's no new video yet. And he's contemplating whether he goes over and watch the Jack show. And as I pointed out, which of these shows is more likely to highlight your chats? Yeah, never forget. Mo is exactly right. Never forget the chat. I guess he's bigging himself up here. Half the comedy comes from the chat. In this instance, I'd say 95% of the comedy on this show comes from the chat.
Mm-hmm. Mo Biggs specifically.
Yeah. He does the lion's share. Jim wants to know which stream is more likely to have a slobbering drunk. Yeah,
Right
and
here.
then right here when we do late night. Once the sombrero comes on. Exactly. Yeah, I've got that bottle around here somewhere. Oh, crap. My 2-year-old's been playing in here, actually, and now I can't see that whiskey bottle. That's not good.
Does he play among the empties?
No, he knows they're for the stream, though. He says, whenever I touch one of those bottles and I'm not streaming, he says, no, Papa, they're for the stream. Yeah, absolutely. We can drink Cecil under the table. We need to get Cecil on here on the late night show. Someone needs to help make that happen. Probably not going to be me. VIP's here. He says, hail the chat. Hail Emilio. Hail you right back. Todd's Truth is here. How you going, buddy? Oh, that's a big claim. That's a very big claim.
Wait, is that Todd Struth or something else?
Todd's Truth. Is that what I said? Todd's Truth.
So. Which did you say?
I said Todd's Truth, but I said it really quickly, so it sounded like I was just, his name is Todd Struth now.
Yeah, maybe I have hearing problems. Moving on.
Vanessa L, I'm so excited. Well, I hope I can live up to that. I hope Vinny turns up so we have another person in the chat to bounce things off. Lord Crusader's here. Oh, he said that was earlier. And where we Albino Thunderbuns is here. You can come in here too, man, if you want to come in. I could send you the link.
Earlier today, I was actually going to suggest Thunderbuns, but I thought he might be tired, and then I got distracted, and I didn't get around to it, and that's kind of my biography. There.
Vinny is the latest streamer to foolishly give me a wrench. Never. Oh, Antoine's here too. We've got some animosity between the rigs in the chat. Fantastic. View of Uranus is here. Fenrir the Ice Wolf. That's is that the opposite of Fenrir Fire? Says entertainment is more important than messages and politics. Baby Killer was a meme that Liam Gray tried to get started on me. Get a little bit of it. Tries to have a meme about them to talk about in the get yourself out there a little bit. And he went with Baby Killer Bancroft, and he did that by asking me if I had a baby and it was a blood-sucking vampire that killed everything in sight, would I kill that baby? And I said yes, unequivocally. And then from there, the Baby Killer stemmed.
Mm-hmm.
Rack 3D. No, not in this show. Ascension.
I don't think I've seen that name before.
Rack 3D? Yeah, Rack 3D's been here the last few days, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rack.
That's all right. Actually, I can catch a good bit of the Jack Show on through Camel Moon. Hey, look, has the Jack Show even started yet? I don't know. They usually start kind of late. Newbie Comics is saying, what's up? Well, they got a good active chat going on today. Did you send Albino the link, Blue?
I'm working on it.
Awesome.
Who's it? Right? Yeah, there he is. Found him.
Todd Struth, Mr. Struth. I think there's an Ian Struth, isn't there? I don't know. Anyway, what are we here to talk about?
We are here to talk about the new Whisper Network.
Yeah, I can barely hear you now.
What the hell? Sorry, I'm not close enough. We're here to talk about the new Whisper Network article from Bleeding Fool, which has been profiled a couple of times on today's streams. So I got to read it through Art to Bear as they tried to play act all the different tweets in the article. It was ridiculous and fun.
The tweets, I think, were the more interesting parts of the. Can you whisper in my ear, Michael? Absolutely. Do you want to shoot Phil the link as well?
Yes.
If you could.
Yes, I do.
Oh, excellent. You absolutely can always whisper in my ear whenever you want, Phil. Blue Hand Land Whales, yeah. It's it's if you caught Ethan's show or Art's show, the Pontificators, they did a whole big reading through the article. It's a long article. It's a damn long article. I mean, but I guess there's so much to expose. It's, I was thinking of Ethan and Zach. They were like Einstein when he first proposed his don't clip just that part, please. No. When he first proposed his theories, and all the maths and everything was all correct, but there wasn't the actual hard evidence yet. And then, years later, I don't know exactly how long later, they did the actual observations and saw the actual physical evidence to prove his hypotheses correct. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on here. We all know, we know it by what they say and what they do, but they've been denying their machinations and insider baseball actions and all that sort of stuff. But it's all coming out into the light today. And did you see that Stephanie Cook, who features very heavily, hey crackhead, Stephanie Crook, who features heavily in the article, has apparently locked down her Twitter, and I think someone else has as well.
Oh, I didn't catch who the other one was. One moment.
Yeah, it was maybe someone in the chat will know. Obviously they're catching a little bit of heat back, especially Stephanie Cook. But it was out before. No one talked about it. I don't know. Is Bleeding Full big enough?
Someone in Art's chat suggested that Ricada needs to look at Stephanie Cook and everything around that lawsuit. Actually, it's a criminal charge.
Yeah. Oh my God, I've just checked. Vinny just sent me a message saying, "Oh, I can come in. Where's the link?" I start on time and I forgot to send the link to the special guest.
I looked up
my God,
Zaid instead of Philip, and that's why I couldn't find him. But I got him the link if he wants it.
Who did I send the link to?
Brandos?
I hope I sent it to Stephanie Cook. Oh no! Apparently Stephanie Crook was trending. Oh, that's hilarious. At least Stephanie Cook can fall back on her impressive list of accomplishments. Oh man, there was a picture in that article. I was just trying to pull out the really the interesting parts for me were all those tweet threads and stuff. But there was a photo of her. Let me just go find it one sec. Here, I'll actually share this. Let's start sharing some things. There it is. Is that her there? That.
Yeah.
Look at that face. What does that say to you, Blue?
She's just a kid. That's what I'm seeing. I mean,
yeah, but this face, if I drew this face, especially as someone wearing that hat, it would just be.
I don't take anything seriously.
It's what I would be trying to portray with this look. It would just be like, there's nothing you can do to me that can hurt me because, I'm a young woman and I've got all of the things around me are set up to protect me. Nothing's going to happen to me.
Oh, you mean without the moose stupidity thing? Yes, yeah, that's okay.
Well, that too. It's just. Past Master Den says the hat is smarter than she is. There, Lord Crackhead, exactly right. It says I'm privileged. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, I stole $10,000 off you. What are you gonna do about it? Vinny, how you going, buddy?
Hey guys.
I'm so sorry. I thought I sent you the link like 5 minutes before the stream started, and then I went and checked, and there's nothing in there.
It's all good, buddy. I'm here.
How you been?
Not bad. Getting some work done. How about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. I've been getting a lot of work done. I've been getting up every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Every time I'll put on a stream most times. It's actually a good time for streaming. 5 o'clock in the morning for me. And I'll put on a stream and sort of just, have that in the background and start working. And then occasionally I'll say hello to someone in the stream and someone will pop up and say, "Isn't this too early for you to be up?" And it's like, no, I've been getting a lot of coloring done on the Lucent, so I'm really happy.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that book is looking amazing. So yeah, it's well worth it.
It's really starting to come together too, and hopefully it'll all, I'll be able to get all this stuff finished ahead of schedule as well. So that would be cool too. Although I see Antoine here in the chat. Mm-hmm. He was there when we were talking about those flat pack folders that Clayton Barton found.
Right.
And he said because my poster that I have on my campaign is folded, and he said, look into this because I want my poster flat. And Antoine, I'm happy to let you know this is not definitive. I've reached out to the company and they are sending me samples. It's all basically going to come down to the weight of the thing, because the price is amazing. The price is perfect. It's really good. So it's not a price thing; it's a weight thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. And don't forget, always try to mail 1 or 2 out anyway to friends or family, just to double check. But yeah, that's going to be a good thing, man. Yeah, you don't want posters.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw it. It's basically, hey Phil, how you going?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey Phil,
how's it going?
Not bad, not bad.
Doing well. Keaton asks, would I do metal posters like Displayed? Yeah, I actually have a bunch of art up on Displayed, but yes, now that I can see that these things exist, why not? Because we didn't have any Gemini mailers in Australia. You can get them from overseas, but it's like you got to pay the price of the Gemini mailer, and then you have to pay, an obscene amount of money to ship a massive carton of things. Yeah, Antoine, there you go. I can send him one as a test. Yeah, I should send them internationally as a test. You can get like an initial run of 25. It's like it's really good price.
Antoine, he stole my idea. I wanted you to give it to me first, but all right.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll send out 25 to some lucky people who want to beg me. But these folders are great. There's just like thick cardboard folds over each other, so you end up with 3 layers of cardboard. And Clayton was showing you really can't bend them, and it's got the actual flap in there that holds the book.
I received one of those from somebody recently, and yeah, it is really good. It's solid, it's strong, it's just as good as the Geminis, and I think it's a little bit thinner than them as well.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that there's alternatives to Geminis. Like I shipped all of Magicop not in a Gemini. I had another cardboard book shipper very similar to that, and it worked perfectly. So I was worried. I was starting to get worried because I've got an A4 size box, and obviously the poster when it's folded and the sketches and everything are A4 size, so there's not huge amounts of protection on the edge. So if I can figure this out, then I can sleep much easier, knowing that everything's going to arrive safely.
Yeah, I've gotten a bunch of books from all over in what do they call flat photo mailers, and those are usually where there's 2 books in one, but they definitely bag and board it inside. And then sometimes there'll be an extra. You can't do this because of the weight, but there'll be an extra piece of cardboard in with it, and that always helps.
That's what I was thinking of doing. Yeah. So I was going to spend extra money to get a nice big thick piece of A4 cardboard and stick that in there.
Oh, okay.
But if I don't have to do that, then. Excellent. Todd Struth asked me if it can survive to Florida. It can survive anything. Yeah, Florida man will go after it. It'll get a big gator bite in it. Look, I don't know. We'll figure something out, but I'm pretty excited. Antoine asked what they're called. They're called Quick Pack, but the reason why you can't find it is because it's QIKPAK or C.
Yeah,
something. You can't find these things. It took me all morning. I was looking for them, and I barely found. I found reference to it. I couldn't find the actual product. Had to get onto Clayton.
Wow. So not the best marketing.
No, it's really like these are just packaging people. They're just normal packaging people out of
They're on
some-
they're on trytofindme.com.
Yeah, their website it's awful. I said to them, can you send me a link to the actual product, because I can't seem to find it. I can find that you sell them, and I found a picture, but I can't find a link to the actual thing.
Holy hell.
Yeah, it's weird. What does this expression say to you, Vinny?
I have no. What is she doing? It's like she farted, didn't want to tell anybody, and she likes the smell. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like, I farted. What are you
No,
going to do
brother,
about it?
Oh my goodness.
Who is this? What did I miss?
This is
Kinda rolling
right.
eyes,
So this
yeah.
is Stephanie Crook, aka Stephanie Cook, who's she's a personal assistant for comic people. That's what she is, isn't she? I mean, I don't think she's an editor or anything like that. She's just a PA. She's got herself out there saying, being a comic book professional is really hard. You've got to juggle a lot of creative things. Don't drop the ball on all your projects by having to worry about emails and schedules and finances. Let me handle all that. And it's come out that it was actually out, but the whole thing is it was suppressed by all the big media players, that she allegedly ripped off a guy called Bill Willingham for over $10,000 while she was employed with him as a PA. I mean, she obviously had access to finances. There's no information on how she did that, but you can see how easily it could be done. Just charging things, and I think he alleged she was using his money to help promote her things and stuff like that. Stuff like that. It could happen so easily.
And they wonder why people are getting upset at some women in comics, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I played that that animation I did of Ethan at the top of the show. We were saying, you fat bearded cucks who let these bitches in here. These kinds of women who just.
I think I recognize her. Wasn't she cast in the new Rocky and Bullwinkle movie live action?
Maybe she's got connections. She's in the Western Network, so she's protected from on high.
Buying up Hanna-Barbera.
It's crazy, man.
Antoine says Willingham's Fables is a top-notch property. There's a story-based video game you can watch here on YouTube. Well, there you go. Yeah, he's apparently, I mean, I don't know a lot of people because I had a big dip out of the kind of mainstream scene for a long time. So he's apparently somebody, and she's essentially a nobody, but because she's got connections in this group, when he goes on to Twitter or wherever and posts, hey, look out, she's under criminal investigation right now. And, there's a pending lawsuit. If she ever enters back into the States, apparently, that would be a bad thing for her, because all this stuff is in the States and, it's all against her name. She'll probably get arrested.
So where's she hiding right now? Is it Canada, Mexico?
In Toronto, yeah.
Canada.
Canada, yeah.
I think we need to build a wall over there too.
So you hire these people because you like their cutesy pie faces and bullwinkle hats, and they steal your money, and then they piss off up north where you can't get to them and have any chance of getting your money back or any kind of justice. And then when you go to the community to say, hey, this has happened, don't hire this woman, she's protected and you're just sort of ignored.
Yeah, wasn't there a tweet later in the article where Mags was complaining that the male perpetrators are always protected?
There's some irony for you.
Yeah, the Lord Crackhead, international fugitive. Make a movie out of this.
Yep, she's wearing a fucking bullwinkle hat. Somebody, quick help! Was that just to mock him? She's up in Canada. Instead of
that's right.
When you put your hands, to the side of your head like that and do the moose hands.
Jason Black asks, don't know what I missed. Here's our history with Cook. Last year, she posted something about cooperation in the community or some trite PR sounding nothing. Yeah, there's some. There's some interesting tweets that I pulled out. So here's her. Oh, they go. I don't know if you guys know, like the last half of the article is about how Scott Snyder is next on the list. He's sort of they've got the targets zoned in on him,
Right.
And God, imagine him reading this. He's got all these people that he probably considers friends because apparently he's calling them all the time.
Well, hold on. Because I remember he said, I think it was last year, he said that he was going to be leaving comics. He had to finish up a couple of runs, and then he's going to leave comics. So maybe he saw that happening, or he got a taste.
Well, a lot of, yeah, maybe,
Or maybe they're trying to get him before he gets all the way out the door.
Probably.
Oh yeah, they don't want to have one that gets away. Well, he was definitely inside the inner circle. There's a few women in this chat, who are like, oh yeah, that's just Scott. When you talk on the phone to him, he's all really, he spends a long time, like kind of using you as a therapist or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to read it. It's really strange.
It's not groundbreaking news because he was on, I believe, Kevin Smith's podcast, and he talked about all of his mental disorders and all the medications he's on. So maybe they saw a sucker or someone that they could abuse like that, or maybe spread more lies with between their little community because they saw he was already messed up.
Yeah, so he's feeling messed up. He's feeling vulnerable, and he's calling these women that I guess they're women that he works with or something. And now he's finding out through a news article that behind his back they're all bitching about him being a little bitch boy, essentially, that they're sick and tired of him calling them up to cry on his shoulder.
From one of the examples in the article, if I remember correctly, I was listening to Art Tiber's version of it as his pontificators read it. I think Vinny, you were in the chat for that, but they were. It was somebody complaining that they'd spend 5 minutes talking work, which was the purpose of the call. So I didn't either. I missed bits because I know I missed the end of Art's video, but it wasn't like he was just calling them up to cry on their shoulders. It was like work turned into personal is the way they made it sound.
Yeah, that's how they all love to twist it like that, right?
Yeah.
But they were all in agreement with that. Yeah, Scott only talks about work for a few minutes, and then it's all about his personal life and him crying and stuff. Yeah, because I'm sure that's what he has to do. With everything he has to do in the day, all the scripts he's writing, the family stuff he's dealing with, he's gonna stop and bitch with them for like 40 to 90 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I like this tweet because it says, please stop pitting creators against each other. Nothing good comes of that mentality. We're all peers. We're all in this together. If you're not in comics to help lift up your peers, then maybe comics isn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's got another tweet saying, basically outing Snyder for not being hard enough on getting Comicsgate out of comic books.
See, that's another twisted thing right there. Because what have CGers been doing? We've been minding our own business. We've been getting cool books out, and they still have to attack. So we defend ourselves, period. The thing is, they can't control us. That's what they fucking hate. They despise that they can't control us. Right? Look how they have this guy. They're trying to squeeze his balls.
Yeah,
so
it looks like they
pop.
Looks like they're not really liking him because they can't control him either.
Yeah,
maybe.
Apparently. Looks that way. Especially if he's really going to split.
Yeah. And even if he wasn't going to split, what's the thing from the last article that we found was they go after people in positions of, let's just say, higher pay, try to knock them out so they can move in.
Well, because he's the head of the Batman group. So
forget power and all that. Just pay.
Yeah, that too.
What does this say about what they think of the people, the fans and the creators who are, in her words, complicit in CG? She's saying that just before she's saying, nothing good comes of, going against each other, pitting ourselves against each other. She doesn't even consider us sort of, comic book people at all. Just we're the out group. It's the us versus them mentality to the nth degree.
Phil, do you have one on this before I jump in on it?
No, it's all you, brother.
Okay. I look at this and I say, oh, she's doing that artificial pluralizing thing. Allowing CGers. Is there anyone more than Blake Northcott that she's referring to? The people with I'm sorry, go ahead.
Does she consider what's his name, Sean Gordon Murphy, to be CG?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. So notice when people say it's happening all the time. This happened this is always happening, or allowing CGers plural, and there's only one. That's you got somebody who's exaggerating. I was going to go off an example, but it's best not to. That'd waste time. So yeah, this tells me there's something disingenuous going on. People who believe their own bullshit is the way you usually hear it.
Yeah, I think I was accurate. She was sniffing her own farts and loving it.
Just it's quick interjection. BoogieBot Comics says he's got up to 85 signups. We need to get you up to at least over 100 to start, and then you got to get up to like 200, 300 before you go live, man. Anyone who doesn't know, Robert is it's some of the best line art that I've seen in a long time from what he's been posting on Twitter. So definitely go and sign up to the pre-launch for that, because it's really looking amazing.
Oh, very cool.
Viewer Rainer says no, it's just Northcott, and Northcott isn't even CG, is she?
No.
So
really.
She never announced that. It's because she was working with Kelsey, who works with the Brightwisers and has a show with all the other guys, the Jack Show. So it's association.
It's the cooties.
Yes, cooties. Uh-oh, she dealt with people in CG. She must have it.
The internet cooties, such a great meme. Because it just shows how pathetic they are. Yeah, look, Antoine is so right here. She's not even really in comics. She's an assistant that has worked for people in comics.
That embezzled money. So she's a crook. She's not even in comics. She's a PA who was stealing money from an actual creator. So
she's fled the country.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's called Robert, Jason. Check that out on Indiegogo. Hopefully you can get the link in there, because it's really worth looking at. I'm
looking for it.
Excellent. Yeah. What else have I got here? I mean, this is just a classic. Heather is disappointed in Scott for spending time with his kids and not being on the internet to virtue signal about what she cares about.
Good Lord.
I've seen a bunch of tweets from her recently, and I don't think I can recall someone more narcissistic than Heather Antos.
The one about Jay Lee's apology, or sorry, excuse me, the guy who went after Jay Lee, his apology isn't good enough. Who's she to judge? I mean,
yeah, and she was like, she also said that she's still she's talking to some other guy, and she's like, I'm still waiting for accountability, any sign of accountability from Jay. It's like she's his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend or something. It's like,
they're all
who are you?
It's all insanity. It's all insanity, man. The labeling, they're trying to throw people under the bus just because they have something between their legs that they don't. None of this makes sense on any level. Like I said, it just comes down to control. They don't like that these people are making more money than them, and they think what they're doing is actually going to make a difference. It's not. The only difference it's doing is making book sales plummet. And people like Tom King is even more proof of that. He did what they said. He chopped them off. He goes, here, put these in your purse. I'm going to go attack other creators on your behalf. Maybe I could get more money again, or a better position, since I got fired off of Batman. So this is all it is. It's clout chasing. It's all ridiculous nonsense just to hurt the industry because they're not there. Well, there's a reason they're not there as well. See, having dealt with a little bit of them with DC in the past, they're very protective of something like Batman. They're not just going to put anybody on there. Tom King got there because they thought he was going to bring his experience from the CIA, and that didn't happen. Instead, he went down a different path altogether of making Batman a cuck. And, everyone knows all that shit, what happened. That's why they fired him. He had like another, 50 books to go or something for his contract, and they fired him. They said, get out of here. You're ruining our sales. Why? Because he's doing what these people told him to do. Ridiculous.
BookieBot Comics brings up, it's worse than an ex-girlfriend. It's like an ex-girlfriend you never actually dated. She just thinks she was your ex-girlfriend. Maybe you met her at a work function once, and then she went home and over a few weeks developed some. Oh, we lost Phil. Developed some, fascination with you, and then just dreamt in her head that she was your ex-girlfriend, and now she's, once you scorn her, she's coming back for revenge.
Yeah, she's got that shrine.
Bizarre.
She built a shrine.
Yeah, exactly.
No wonder so many.
Don't go to Heather Antos's house, Scott. Whatever you do.
Is it doll?
No wonder so many CGers are drawn to horror stories because, all these different horror films, they document what people go through. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at this. I expected more from you, Scott. Who the hell gives her authority over how he decides to actually spend time with his kids? Sorry, I'm a little incensed about that with family.
No, it isn't. I've been incensed ever since all of these tweets I've been seeing of him. I'm just like,
I don't even like Scott Snyder's writing, and I'm incensed on his behalf that nobody should be interfering with his kids.
Anyone here? I mean, most of all of us have worked, in a company, and just imagine getting out there on Twitter and complaining publicly, and you're someone who a lot of people know and follow, and complaining about some guy in some other company because they did something with someone. It's mind-blowing.
It is.
That anyone hires these people or anyone backs them up. Phil Uranus reckons that they used the Zoe Quinn bot farm to push their tweets to the top. Yeah, maybe. I mean, she's the kind of person that anyone who ever goes against her just gets they get the full scorched earth treatment. And but she's in that group as well.
But how and why?
Oh, well, because Gamergate was Comicsgate times 1,000 in terms of scale.
So
I can remember.
So she was one of the main people involved in that?
She was the main people. So she was the one that kicked it off. So she was the one that was in a relationship with 5 dudes, and the guy who she cheated on repeatedly, and he wrote a thing and put that public, and everyone said, "Oh, he's doing a hate screed," and everyone came out to White Knight for her. I mean, she is the evidence against her is there's a mountain of it, of just awful behavior and hypocritical behavior as well.
So she's the voice of morality, I see.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
she after she set up this entire network to basically destroy her enemies, she went out and started like an online anti-bullying thing, and she's been to the UN, and then just the sheer scale that Gamergate was, she just got some really big, powerful allies in all over the place, from politics to entertainment to everything. So that's why, and Zoe Quinn is in that group as well. That's probably the connection.
What the chat is saying too, this is the one who passed herself around all over the place for reviews for games to get clout with other people.
Yeah, well, I think just more than happens, she's just a person who just liked to sleep around, and then I think one of those guys, someone might correct me if I'm wrong, it was Nathan Grayson, maybe. Just plucked her. He was writing about 5 or so indie games, and you know how many games there are. There's like 10,000, and he just mentioned hers, and said, "Hey, check out this game if you want to." And everyone was like scratching their head because the game is just it's just a text based thing, and it was like, "Oh, why are you telling us about this?" And then it came out that they were sleeping together, and it was just a crescendo, because this is what people had been complaining, just like in comics. This is what people had been complaining about for years, and now they had some evidence, and that just sort of, and then they said, "Hey," they called that out, and then Reddit banned everyone from mentioning it, and yeah, it was just it was like pouring gasoline on this huge, enormous tinderbox,
and then
and it just went woof. I can remember.
That's where Anita Sarkeesian jumped in. She's on video admitting she has no childhood background in games. It was part of something I think she did right after college. And then she went to Anita Sarkeesian then went to a conference when there's video of her talking after the conference about how to make yourself into a brand and promote yourself. And then she comes out as just so obviously fake, saying I was a big gamer growing up, and basically that she's trying to claim that meant she played Nintendo, which is fine. If you enjoy games, Nintendo's your thing, no problem. And she's just lying. She's outright lying, and said, here's a place where I can get fame, and inserted herself into Gamergate right there before it blew up. That's Anita Sarkeesian, and then came Brianna Wu.
Yeah. The whole sordid history of Gamergate is a very complicated thing. I know that Chief Justice Optimus Deadpool was around back then as well. I just remember you'd go onto Twitter and you'd put in the Gamergate hashtag, and the latest, like the live feed, would scroll by just continuously like that.
Yeah.
And that would go on all day, every day, for about 3 months, just constant. And it was crazy. When I said it was big like that, Jason Black, I just meant in terms of the amount of people that were involved and the scale and the reach of it. Obviously, games it's the biggest entertainment industry in the world, whereas comics is one of the smallest. But yeah, we've definitely, been able to even make games where they couldn't.
Right.
We need a little more view. We need a little more view of Uranus comments in here, because he's saying some things that were useful. He said,
"Okay,
I got to scroll this back. I only just opened this window. He's referring to Zoe Quinn. Drove another developer to suicide and got clout for it.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
So what do these women in the Whisper Network think they're really doing? I mean, can we tell from the articles so far that they know the end goal is to make you so unemployed you're either going to starve to death or you might as well kill yourself?
Look, I think
it's just evil and vile on every level.
I don't know. I think they're all out there joking about it, saying, haha, yeah, we're going to take over the industry, as in sarcastically repeating what, they're being accused of doing. But, I do think that the people who've been persistent and consistent, like Heather Antos, like others, who've been doing it for so long with so many underhanded ways, do have some kind of, they are like Ethan says, they do have an agenda or something. Even if it's not necessarily they get into a room and all conspire about it, they all share the same ideology. They all share the same view of what the industry is. In their view, it's a boys' club that hates women and and it needs to be destroyed. Who was saying that in one of these things? I was saying, we need to dismantle the system that is comics, and you're not helping us do that. I think they were calling out Scott Snyder again. I think they do want to do that.
Yeah, it's just they're just picking another form of entertainment that they think they could latch onto and destroy just for the sake of their own nonsense.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
You've been knee deep in this thing for going on 7 hours now.
He's been buns deep.
Buns deep in the degradation of the comic book industry.
What do you call it when someone gives someone like that? We're talking about Heather Antos. No, Zoe Quinn, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
A Vertigo book with no experience.
I call that Andy Curry, who was the editor that hired her, that came from Comics Alliance, which was a comic, quote-unquote, news site that employed Kieran Shiak, better known to many people in the comic book industry as Sandwich Boy, because he would trash comic book people in his columns, and yet he wasn't able to buy his own sandwiches, so he would crowdfund them.
Yeah, I remember that.
and then people, after giving him donations to buy his sandwiches, would find out that he was bragging on Twitter how he took his girlfriend to go see Hamilton.
Yeah.
They sound like Dick Tracy villains.
Yeah, they really are.
It's so hard to keep track of all this stuff in your mind over all these years.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of their method, just be consistent, be persistent, and do it for long enough until people just can't remember anymore all the shit that you've done.
Well, and so here, unfortunately, this is kind of like a good microcosm of the industry at large, because Comics Alliance is gone. It couldn't sustain itself, so it fell apart and turned to dust and blew away. Andy Curry got a job at DC through one of his buddies. He is the editor who hired Zoe Quinn and Eric Esquivel, the alleged sexual abuser, predator, rapist, depending on who you talk to, which of his victims you talk to. And Robbie Rectum, otherwise known as Robbie Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. So you have this guy in Andy Curry who hired all of these people. Vertigo went belly up. We all watched it happen. Those creators and the few decent creators they had there in there, along with all of the not so decent ones, they don't have work at Vertigo anymore. Vertigo is no longer an imprint, and yet Andy Curry is still employed at DC.
It's the constant failing upwards that it just keeps, reinforcing the behavior, and it keeps the same people, at the helm, at the forefront in these positions of power, so to speak, and nothing happens.
Right.
Yeah, and when you see these articles from Bleeding Fool, the one that dropped today, and then the first one that dropped 3 weeks ago, a lot of us who have been looking at this stuff for a few years were convinced that several of these prominent comic book, quote-unquote, news sites were coordinating and conspiring with pros in the industry. And these articles are showing proof of it.
There's that guy who's just basic. What do they say? It's like a PR firm for.
Rich Johnston, the PR firm for Alex DeCampi.
Yeah,
and Stephanie Cook. Yeah. In both of those articles, Penny Parker, the reporter, she had screenshots of things Rich Johnson was writing, and it was just utter nonsense. Things like, when you read Alex DeCampi's work, it will move you in ways you never thought possible.
Bowel movements?
I was thinking bowel movements. And
Anton points out that something does happen at the end. The companies they congregate in go bankrupt, and they run to the next company. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people keep hiring them. They just, hey, I just decimated this long-standing, well-respected imprint. Oh yeah, sure, you can have a job. Why not?
Yeah, it wasn't me though. It was the toxic fandom. That's what they tell their new employees. Wow.
Hey, Kino Subway. There you going? Yeah, it's. I mean, God, and you know what they're going to do now. So now that these, these two articles have dropped, and there's another one coming, because they're in control of the mainstream narrative. They just say, look at these awful CGs harassing us with these articles, just cherry picking things and taking things out of context and showing it all in a bad light, and then they'll just use it as more fuel to smear.
Yeah,
Well,
did you
honey,
notice at the beginning
what's
of
the context?
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Blue.
No, I was just saying, well, honey, what's the context then?
No, they don't care about context. Context is irrelevant to them.
Yeah, go ahead and provide the context. But what I was saying is that at the beginning of the article that was dropped today, did you notice how Amy Chu, she had the first group of tweets that were quoted?
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice how my guess is unknowingly admitted that they are all part of a conspiracy? She was trying to blame Todd Mulrooney and the rest of us who have all been talking about this, because she was responding to Todd's tweet. Todd sent out a tweet saying, hey, if you want to tune in to the pontificators, we're going to cover article number 2. Well, she replied to that, and there were 3 tweets in a row, and in one of those she was saying, this is just an even bigger conspiracy than us. Yeah, if you look at that third tweet down, this is evidence of a much larger conspiracy beyond us to turn everything we do and make it about the guys. I don't know if she realized that she was admitting. I mean, we all know it's a conspiracy because we've seen the screenshots of their secret group. We've seen that Gail is an administrator. We've seen that Amy Chu is an administrator. And and she's in here saying, well, it's not Gail and it's not Alex. Well, we've seen which ones are administrators, which ones are moderators, and so on. So I hope they keep talking, because they're just going to, it seems to me, they're just going to keep digging the hole deeper.
Yeah,
it seems to be something that they do quite a bit, where they sarcastically admit what they're doing.
Yes.
And I think they do it because maybe they don't really believe themselves that that's what they're doing, or that they just don't care. They're like, oh yeah, guys, like, remember that one? Who was it? Kelly Sudaconic and Gal Simone. Sorry, we took over the industry, doing the kissy face.
Yeah, the duck lips.
Yeah, the duck lips. Yeah, and it's like, well, yeah, you kind of did come in and take it over and drive it into a wall or off a cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I've noticed when they started protesting and complaining after Bleeding Fool ran the first article a few weeks ago, some of them were acting like this was no big deal. But if you look at the timeline before the article was, you can actually look within the first article, and it shows you the progression of several of them tweeting more and more brazenly about them having a whisper network. Like Alex DeCampi, for example, it was her, and it might have been Stephanie Cook. They were the ones who started getting more and more blatant in coming out and saying that there was a whisper network. And by the time it got to June, they were openly referring to it as a whisper network. And one of the comments within the secret group, I believe it was from Alex DeCampi, although I'd have to go back and reread it to verify this. But at any rate, one of them said, whispering is no longer enough. We now have to shout it out. And you can actually look at events that happened within the industry and how actions were being escalated in terms of damage that was attempted against other people. And you can see that these things sync up with the timeline that Penny established within her article.
Mm-hmm. You guys remember the movie A Few Good Men?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remember at the end of that movie, the strategy is like the colonel is on trial for ordering a punishment on a Marine, and it's called what was it called? Like a red something. Anyway, it's like a physical punishment on the Marine that's not technically allowed, but they all do it, and he dies. And he's on trial for that now. Well, the colonel isn't on trial, but basically Tom Cruise, the lawyer, wants to get him to admit that he actually made the order, and they're like, well, he's not going to admit that because then he'll be complicit in it. And he's like, no, he wants to admit it because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. Who are you to come here and tell us that we've done anything wrong? This is what they're doing. They're like, we're here fighting against this misogynistic patriarchal blah 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 boys club who we shouldn't even be in a Whisper network. They should be out in the open, out and proud, and screw you can't handle the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now add to that the magician's trick, where he makes a big flourish in one place, but you don't see him move his hand very small in the other. She's doing that in those tweets we had up earlier. If you scroll back up, it's the thing where she's showing. Sorry, headphones are funny. There we go. She's showing.
Where are you talking about?
Go back up to not Alice DeCampi, but the one who doth protest too much. Amy Chu. Amy Chu's tweets. She mischaracterizes the complaint. There we are. It's the second tweet that I'm focused on, above the gay porn there. But she's saying, rest assured, 99% of the time we're not talking about you guys. More like how tired we are of lots of cat pics. Totally mischaracterizing what's being discussed. It's like the guy who murders his wife and then says, why are you talking about this one little event? We had a great marriage for 20 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
This is like CNN saying mostly peaceful protest while showing footage of Antifa lighting a courthouse on fire.
Yeah. So they can, because they are, they can say it's like factually true, but factually accurate, but not truthful. If maybe 99% of it is them talking about cat pics, but the fact is that the outcome of it is when they do decide to swarm on someone like they clearly are on Scott Snyder, that has real world consequences for the industry, for the target, it should have real world consequences for themselves and their careers, but it doesn't. It is a method, and it works. They're doing it because it works.
Yeah, and they were talking about when they were talking about Snyder specifically, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they both, there's evidence there in the article, today's article, that they were both talking about tearing down the so-called structure.
Yeah, I wanted to find that, but I couldn't. I didn't remember where it was.
Scott Snyder in particular. And they were talking about how Snyder should be, and this is now where they take their little whispering in their secret group and they take it public. You can contrast what they were talking about in the group. You then go in the article to DeCampi's tweets when she was replying to the I promise not to be a pervert pledge, and she was saying, number one, we don't believe you, which I thought was a huge shot across the mainstream industry's bow. And then number two, there you go. She's saying that, when are you going to push beyond this and use your privilege to push change when you see that nobody of marginalized backgrounds are being hired as creators by a particular office? That's the BAT office. That's where Scott Snyder works. Where's he going to use his privilege? In the BAT office. Or they're only given quote-unquote token books. And if you scroll down a little bit more, she then goes on and is basically vocalizing to the whole world the stuff that they were talking about in their secret group. And So she's now saying that Scott Snyder should not only give people jobs in the bat office, then he should refuse to work with a publisher that continues to employ known harassers. Well, who's that other than DC? So now he should quit working with DC because they employed known harassers like Eddie Berganza and Eric Esquivel? And then goes to saying no to all white male panels at cons or guest.
Hang on, you've got to pronounce that right. It's not all white males. It's all white males. That's how they say it.
Quite.
Yeah, I forgot. They have to spit the words out of their mouths.
Yeah. God, that would be what a horrendous thing. Can you imagine just a group of white people together?
I know.
What could be anything? What could be worse?
And
goodness me.
And then talking about guesting at cons with no or only token numbers of marginalized creators as guests. Well, who were the marginalized creators and what would be token numbers? What would be greater than token numbers? And then in her next one, she talks about he's supposed to actually, quote, risk your comfort to dismantle this system. You haven't so far. So now she's expecting him to not only give her and her friends jobs working for DC, she then expects him to quit working at DC. She then expects him to quit going to panels. And then she expects him to somehow dismantle the entire system. Is it just
but
me?
They're the good guys. But they're the good guys.
Yeah, oh yeah, obviously.
Look, I could go on for hours talking about this, but unfortunately, this is my lunch hour, so I only get one. It's been great to have you here. Sorry, Phil had to drop out. We invited him in. He probably had something else to do, but it's been
popped up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. It's been great to have you to keep talking about this, Joe, because it looks like you've gone through this with a fine tooth comb.
Oh, I appreciate the invite, man. Sorry I couldn't jump in earlier.
Yeah.
No, anytime.
I recommend to the chat a few things. If you want to share my screen, that's good too.
Yep.
I recommend to the chat, learn how people twist words and manipulate. Like we pointed out a little bit here, it's extremely useful. Learn those logical fallacies. You can identify them and get away from people, and learn the beauty of Through the Woods, the collected edition, still on demand on Indiegogo here, as well as City of Venus. City of Venus.
Oh, we don't talk about City of Venus enough.
We don't.
Yeah,
we need to. I still need to read it.
We need to. Well, I mean, when we have our longer shows, and if Vinny comes back on, maybe we could get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be great. And in a week or two, I'm also going to be adding my children's book onto this campaign, just because it's going to be a place where I have all my floppies, but that's going to be limited. So I'll announce that when I have the number of books to put out there. It's a Halloween book, so.
Look at that! Hang on.
One.
Give that book a knock there, Joe. Oh, listen to that. Love it.
Yeah.
Love
you
it.
want
Fantastic.
A story? Yeah, that's the one.
Vinny, thanks so much as well for coming on, man. I thought, I always know you've got really, I think you've got valuable opinions. And you know how to express them. So thanks for coming on and doing that today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. When you have the longer ones, I'll give you my bigger view on all this as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thanks so much. I feel like I really do want to keep going, but I do got to get back to work. It's Friday afternoon for me. I've got a lot of stuff to finish off. And as always, we had a bunch of people in here in the chat. Thank you so much for coming out. Like I said, you come into this show. It's a smaller show, so you get to interact a little bit more, and you get to, get involved in the conversation a little bit more, which is what I enjoy as well. So thank you guys for commenting and getting involved with that. Hail the chat, love you guys, and other than that, we'll see you tomorrow, and stay out of the Whisper networks. Bye.